Since debuting Vault 76 last year, in honor of America's tercentenary, Vault-Tec continues to expand with plans for well over 100 vaults around the country. And now our exclusive coverage of the continuing volatile situation with Communist China.
There once was a magical place called Vault 76. It protected the best and the brightest of the land from the ravages of the world above. While the surface was burned by nuclear fire and overrun with monsters of radiation and mutation, the people of the vault lived safe and secure, preparing for the day when they would emerge into the new world. Before the plague, before Reclamation Day, and before our residents would become the heroes and villains of a much larger story, it was their time in the vault that helped shape their destiny. As the night draws near, grab a warm glass of milk and a fancy lad snack cake, and sit back as we present Bedtime Stories, Tales from Vault 76. Once upon a time, many years ago, in a very special place called Vault 76, there lived a girl named Lilith. Unlike the other children, who liked to run, play, and eat sweet treats, Lilith preferred to hide and sneak, and eat things that were mostly meat. Before the monster that was Lilith was unleashed upon Appalachia, she stalked the halls of the vault. Far too late, her father would come to realize just how dangerous his creation had become. In the depths of the vault, the monster removes her mask. Thank you for coming, Mrs. Alistair.
Overseer, I was right in the middle of my maintenance shift. I do hope this is important.
It is very important. We need to talk about Lilith.
Again. I spoke with her just last week, and she promised to behave. And why isn't my husband here?
Your husband has refused my invitation. In fact, he's refused all of my invitations. Hence why you are here.
That good for nothing.
What was that, Mrs. Alistair?
Nothing, Overseer. So, what did Lilith do this time?
She caused another explosion. No one was hurt, thank goodness, but the janitor's storage room was nearly destroyed, and it scared poor Shia nearly to death. Your daughter put some kind of chemical concoction in the cleaning supplies, and it blew up the moment it was exposed to water.
And how do you know Lilith was responsible for this, Overseer?
Because she left a note. Your daughter appears to be very proud of what she did. Here, see for yourself.
I hope you enjoy the fireworks. Signed, Lilith.
This is merely the latest in a long string of incidents, Mrs. Alistair. This is beyond unacceptable, and I lay the blame for this squarely on your shoulders, and that of your husband as well. I don't care what he was doing for West Tech, or why either of you were selected, but I will not allow that vile child to continue to disrupt the vault so close to Reclamation Day.
Now, you see here, Overseer.
As of this moment, Lilith is no longer welcome at school. Consider her expelled. She will be reassigned somewhere befitting her attitude until I can think of some other way to contain her. Just be glad we don't have a jail cell, because I would toss her in there and throw away the key.
I cannot believe this. Just because my daughter is a bit precocious.
Precocious? She is a menace. Here. These are just a sample of the reports I've received about your daughter, not to mention the rumors.
I didn't know. I need to talk to my husband.
You do that. But my decision still stands.
Good afternoon, Vault 76. Reminder, if you haven't scheduled your annual medical exam, please contact Dr. Harefield. Results for last night's ping pong tournament will be posted in the commissary. The Reclamation Day Party Committee is still looking for volunteers. A note to parents, please keep your children away from the reactor room. We're running low on Radaway.
Lucius, we need to talk, and it needs to be now.
Paige, can't you see I'm in the middle of something?
No, it can't wait. I knew you were somewhat detached with the goings-on around the vault, but to be completely oblivious to what's going on with our daughter.
What do you mean? I have been meticulous.
God damn it! Not with your notes or whatever you're doing. She's been kicked out of school.
What?
You heard me. The overseer herself called me to her office. Explosions, missing animals, and a litany of other incidents and rumors about our daughter. I was told in no uncertain terms that our daughter was no longer welcome in any classroom.
Well, that is unfortunate.
Unfortunate? She all but called Lilith a monster. Now, I know our daughter is different, but I thought it was something she'd outgrow. Instead, it's getting worse, and I've begun to suspect that you have something to do with it.
Me?
Don't give me that innocent look, Lucius. I know what you were doing before the war. What did you do to our daughter?
I've done nothing. Ow!
You lied to me again, and I swear I'll do something we both regret.
Okay.
I want the truth.
Lilith may have been exposed to some of the research samples I've kept since we arrived.
Exposed? What does that even mean?
I was permitted by Vault-Tec to bring some of my work with us when we entered 76. At some point, I believe Lilith might have come in contact with something I was working on. I watched her carefully at the time, and it appeared that nothing happened. But I've been monitoring her just in case.
God damn it! You turned her into a monster!
Ow! Stop it, Paige!
Mom? Dad?
Lilith? Is that you?
Do you feel better, Paige? This ruins everything. Lilith might know. Now I have no choice.
No choice? What did you do to her? I'm not done with you yet, Lucius. I'm going to see if I can find her. Talk to her. I'll be back and you better tell me the truth.
Once upon a time, 27 years after the bombs fell, there were two people, a vault dweller and a California girl. They met, and sparks flew. That's when things got interesting. Once Upon a Wasteland is their story. Follow Elizabeth Kirby and Odessa Valdez as they pursue their happily ever after in the post-apocalyptic Appalachian wasteland of Fallout 76. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and many other podcasting platforms. Once Upon a Wasteland, a Fallout 76 love story. Available now.
Dr. Lucius Alistair picked himself up off the floor and brushed off his vault suit. It was unfortunate that so much had been revealed about his experiment, and worse, that Lilith had finally passed what he considered to be the final threshold of containment. He needed to update his notes while working out his next steps. Gingerly working his way around the broken dishes and glasses on the floor, he retreated back to his small office space in their vault apartment. He frowned when he found that the door was unlocked. The door was always locked. He didn't want anyone snooping around his personal terminal, especially not Lilith, after he discovered her trying to break into it several years earlier. Since then, he changed the locks and installed an even stronger encryption on his files. Upon entering the small office space, nothing looked out of place, but when he booted up his terminal, it appeared that someone had accessed it, or at least attempted to. Worse, after entering the passwords required, several files were open that he swore weren't open before.
Lilith, what did you get into?
Lilith had been spending less and less time in their quarters over the past year. As long as she returned long enough for him to administer the narcotics necessary to sedate her, so he could take blood and conduct a physical inspection, he was willing to overlook some of the more unusual behavioral issues. Honestly, it made for very interesting data to incorporate into his reports. However, it now appeared that his 18-year-old experiment with strain E4252-A.01 was coming to an end. Of course, it had always been part of his contingency planning that the subject, his daughter, would require termination. At first, he'd planned to merely overdose her on sedatives he'd been using. Over time, however, her tolerance for the drugs, and then the stronger narcotics he was able to smuggle out of the infirmary, was increasing. At this point, at her age, he wasn't even sure he'd be able to administer a large enough dose to kill her. Worse, with her history of violent behavior and enhanced physical strength, he didn't think he'd be able to get her close enough anyway. But he had accounted for that fact. So Lucius had procured a 10mm pistol from the armory. It had cost quite a bit in both ration coupons and favors, but he was able to convince the chief logistics officer, Reynolds, to give him the weapon, along with a small quantity of ammunition. He examined the weapon in his hand. Perhaps Lilith had given him the excuse he needed anyway. Trying to explain away a murder, especially that of his own daughter, would have been problematic. But if she in fact had the reputation that his wife told him about, well, suddenly it became easier. Lilith had quietly snuck back into their family's small vault apartment. After listening to her parents' little argument, and oh, how much pleasure she had gotten from watching Mom take Dad down a peg or two, Lilith knew she needed to advance her plans.
That stupid overseer, always sticking her nose where it doesn't belong.
Lilith's mom had tried to follow her, and for once, Lilith underestimated just how good her mom's tracking skills were. It may have been over 2 decades since her time in the army, but damn if she hadn't almost caught Lilith outside the maintenance pipes. Lilith had managed to give her the slip, but only just barely. She suspected, but wasn't sure, that her mom might be able to find her secret entrance to the old pipe system. That part of the vault wasn't used very much, which is why Lilith made it her home away from home. Since she discovered the old area, no one had ever uncovered what Lilith had been doing there. Well, almost no one. Her friend Valeria, perhaps the only real friend she ever had, managed to sneak her way in. Lilith had seen her, of course, but wanted to see what she'd do. When Valeria hadn't told a soul what she'd seen, well then, Lilith knew. Val was more like her than she ever thought. She even had a little note that she'd written. After losing her mother, Lilith had to get back to the apartment for her supplies. While Lilith hated school, she loved chemistry class. Learning all about which chemicals could make the biggest booms had been so much fun. The booms, however, weren't appreciated by all. Lilith had left a few key components in her room, hidden in a hole in the wall behind her desk. The fusion core? Yeah, she had that already. Stupid Bobby stole her. He worked in the supply room and had access to what she needed. Sacrifices needed to be made, though. Lilith understood that. It had been a funny little stumbling experience, but both she and Bobby got what they wanted. Lilith, however, put Bobby on a list. After Reclamation Day, if she ever ran into him, then she'd really have some fun. Besides the fusion core, the rest of the wiring and circuitry would be enough to do the trick. They'd come looking for her now, and they knew where to look. Too bad for them. Lilith managed to sneak through the apartment. The door to her father's office was closed, but she could hear him in there, typing away again.
Dad must be updating that log of his. If he thinks he's going to end this little experiment, he's got another thing coming. And if he thinks a pistol will do any good, I bet he won't even notice I removed the firing pin.
Getting to her room, Lilith quickly moved the desk and got the pieces she needed. Shouldn't take too long, and well, she needed to make sure her mother saw her again, and bait the trap accordingly. Good evening, Vault 76. Dinner at the commissary tonight will be roasted cram and Insta-mashed potato salad. The Vault badminton tournament has been rescheduled due to the need to find replacement shuttlecocks. On a related note, shuttlecocks are not suitable replacements for air filters. And finally, congratulations to Casey Barksdale, this year's winner of the annual Vault 76 beauty pageant.
I'm not going to ask where you got that pistol, Lucius. But if we find Lilith, I'm going to talk to her, and you're going to let me.
You don't understand. She's more dangerous than you can possibly imagine.
Imagine! She's our daughter, not some experiment.
She's so much more than that. But
Just shut up! I last saw her around here, messing with that pipe over there.
Paige, are you sure about this? Jerry and I aren't supposed to be down here.
God, John! I asked if you'd help us, and you said yes.
Help find your kid? Yeah. But all this talk about experiments and your husband there with a pistol? We should really talk to the overseer.
Damn it, Jerry! Will you please be quiet? We need to find my daughter. Can you please just check the pipe?
Fine. But I swear, you owe me.
we shouldn't be here.
Lucius? You say another word, I will kill you myself.
Huh?
What is it, Jerry?
Well, Paige, I'll be damned. There's a loose hatch back here. Seems to be stuck, though. Can you folks come over here and help me lift it?
I'm not doing this by myself. Lucius, get your ass over here and help.
I'll be damned. Looks pretty well traveled to me. There are lights in here and everything. It's a tight fit, but I think we can make it.
You can't expect me to get in there.
Lucius.
Fine, but something isn't right.
The two maintenance workers led the way, with Paige pushing her husband into the old water reclamation pipe. The smell of mold and rancid decay was almost overwhelming, but Jerry had been right. Someone, and Paige guessed it was Lilith, had set up lights to guide the way as the pipe snaked through the facility.
Damn! I haven't smelled anything this bad since we cleared out those chat-coms at Anchorage. Smells like...
Shut up, John. There's another light ahead. Looks like it opens up.
Paige, honey.
Don't you dare honey me. When we find Lilith, you're going to tell us both the truth. No more hiding.
You don't understand. You just can't understand. This is my legacy.
So help me, Lucius.
Hey, I found something. Oh. Oh my god.
What? What did you find? Lilith?
Paige walked through the open hatch and into what used to be a large holding tank for reclaimed water. Now it was something else entirely. This is what Lilith had been hiding for years, her own laboratory and butcher shop. The skeletonized remains of vault pets adorned the walls and floors, while fresher kills sat on hooks, partially stripped of their flesh and meat. In one corner was a makeshift bed covered in various science books, while in the other sat a workbench with wires, appliances, and what appeared to be part of a fusion core.
Brilliant.
This is inhuman. I can't even... What is our daughter, Lucius?
Yeah, Dad. Why don't you tell Mom exactly what I am?
All eyes turned back to the entrance. There, in a dirty vault suit, stood Lilith, holding a knife in one hand and some kind of electronic device in the other.
Lilith?
Dad was always so good at hiding his secrets. From you, anyway. I've known about his little science experiment for a while. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. All I needed was to get Dad all by his lonesome. But you made a mess of that.
Hey, Lilith.
Oh, hey, John. Jerry. Sorry I had to see all of this, but you know how it goes. Omelets, eggs.
Lilith? Honey? I'm sorry. Come on. We can talk about this. I love you. Whatever happened, you're still my daughter.
Paige, stand back. It's time for this experiment to end.
Paige looked on in horror as her husband raised the pistol and pointed it at their daughter. Even more shocking was Lilith's carefree expression.
You need a firing pin for that to work, silly.
Lucius looked at the pistol, then back up to Lilith. She just smiled.
Lilith, please.
If only you hadn't found my little nest, Mom. But no loose ends. Time for an experiment of my own. I've always wanted to see what would happen if a fusion core exploded in a confined space.
No, Lilith, you can't. My work.
Bye, Mom. Fuck you, Dad.
Lilith closed the pipe hatch and engaged the lock. She could hear the shouts and screams from inside as her test subjects banged against the door. Lilith pulled out her homemade detonator and flipped the toggle switch. A green light indicated that the fusion core was now armed.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Work like a charm. Too bad about Mom, though. But can't make an omelet without breaking skulls. Gotta get back and see what else dear old Dad was hiding on that terminal of his. Then lay low until Reclamation Day. Got that letter for Val. She kept my secret. I like her. Still so damn hungry. Can't wait to get out of this stupid vault. I bet Appalachia tastes wonderful.
It doesn't.
Hi, I'm Fire Rider, and I'm the host of The Pixel People, a podcast dedicated to taking a close look at our favorite characters from our favorite video games. From major characters who define the course of a game's storyline to smaller characters who you might have never noticed. Every week, we go beyond the quest line to examine a particular character's story arc and choices, and discover the real-world parallels and life lessons hidden just below the surface. I hope you'll join us. You can find the Pixel People on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts.
It doesn't.
Overseer.
Is the fire out, Edwards?
Yes, ma'am.
Damage?
Extensive. Lucky for us, we haven't used this part of the water reclamation facility for a few years now.
Casualties?
4 dead, ma'am. The bodies were severely burned. We're able to identify them by their vault IDs. Lucius and Paige Alistair, Jerry Riggs, and John Poling.
The Alistairs? Jerry and John? What the hell were they doing down here?
Unknown, ma'am. None of them are assigned anywhere near this section.
This is awful. Lilith.
What was that, ma'am?
The Alistair's daughter. Do you know what she is?
Oh, her. No, ma'am. Honestly, we try to avoid her.
First, make sure there aren't any more bodies down here. Second, find out what caused the explosion. At least to make sure we don't have to worry about anything else going boom down here. And third, Edwards, when the residents ask, this was an unfortunate accident. Close the whole area. Since we're not using this section anyway, shut it all down.
Ma'am?
It's the best for our family, our residents. They need to be focused on Reclamation Day. We all have a job to do. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Crystal clear. And the girl?
I don't know. We're not equipped to deal with anything like her. Reclamation Day can't come soon enough.
Thank you again, members, for joining us here for a very special mini-series of the MODUS Files, Bedtime Stories, Tales from Vault 76. If you've enjoyed this content, please subscribe, and better yet, please leave a review to help others find our little enclave. You can also follow us on Twitter, @MODUS Files, for more information about our podcast, Fallout 76 content, and random musings on the Enclave. I'd also like to thank our cast, Lucy Middleton as young Lilith, Vitriol Plays as Paige Alistair, Austin Rogers as John Poling, Patrick Conway as Jerry Riggs, and introducing Wendy Novoselsky as the Overseer, and Brad Williams as Lucius Alistair and Captain Edwards. We'd like to give a shout out to the Apocalyptic Aristocracy Discord, home to a great group of fellow creators, the Robots Radio podcast community and the rest of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, and Jeremiah Johnson, our favorite character artist who provided the wonderful character artwork you can find on our website. Stay tuned for our next episode of The MODUS Files, Episode 9, The Blood Eagle War, Part 2. Lastly, thank you to all of our subscribers and supporters. God bless the Enclave, and God bless America.